Ag AM in Kansas is brought to you in part by Sure Crop, liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
Welcome back to the program. Duane Toews, joined by Randy Blach with Cattle-Fax. He is the Executive Vice President, speaking at the Kansas Livestock Association Annual Convention and Trade Show in Wichita. I think one thing that I thought about, and I haven't heard much discussion of, but with the heifer retention this year and in the coming years, that's going to change the age of the cow herd quite a bit in the country, which has some impacts as well.
Well, it really does, and we've seen this over the last several years as we've gone through the drought situation. What have we done? We tended to cull those older cows as we've gone through the drought, and we've put the best genetics in these operations. So part of what we're seeing, I think we have the best genetics in our breeding herd that we've ever had in the history of our industry. And now we have an opportunity to add even more of those best genetics in our industry over the next several years as we expand. So the productivity of the nation's cow herd has never been greater. You can see it in here. Look at what carcass weights have done over the last 30 years. You know, they've gone up nearly 300 pounds. It takes great genetics and nutrition to enable to do that. So I think we've still got a tremendous amount of genetic outcome in the inventory that we're going to produce here over the next decade.
You referenced carcass weights. Despite lower cattle numbers, those increasing carcass weights have held us pretty even as far as production is concerned?
Well, not so much from a production standpoint this year. You know, production was still down about 5% in 2014. But when we look at it historically, if we look at the decline in the number of beef cows that we've experienced in the last 2 decades, 75% of that decline was offset with increased carcass weights. So the productivity of the inventory has really helped soften the impact of losing that many productive cows. As we come back in here, we'll also be able to see that increased productivity on a growing cow herd moving forward. So that's what leads us to believe that we'll start to see those production numbers increase more by the time we get to 2017 and 18.
If we keep corn price where it's at through those years, that'd be awfully nice as well.
Well, it really will, you know, and I think the thing, obviously, a lot of our producers are farmers, ranchers, farmers, feeders. They do both. They're integrated operations. And the farming segments did very, very well in here from the middle of the previous decade up until the last 12 months. They had a great run. But we all know, as we've been around these markets, when you go through those times of good profitability, then we're going to go through a stretch of some very lean years. And the next 3 or 4 years will probably be pretty lean years for our farming enterprises, but our livestock enterprises will pick up the slack. And this is no different today than it's been over the last 50 to 100 years. So most of our listeners out there shouldn't be surprised by this.
Our thanks to Randy Blach, Executive Vice President of Cattle-Fax, for joining us at the Kansas Livestock Association Annual Convention and Trade Show in Wichita. For KFRM, I'm Duane Toews. Have a great day.
Tar Waters has what you need for all seasons for around the farm and home. Working, hunting, growing, feeding, snow removal, even fun for the kids. And a service department with experienced techs to help keep your equipment in top running condition. Tar Waters has a huge selection and the best prices. Tarwater Farm and Home, family owned and operated since 1978. They have what you need.